Hi, everyone. Welcome to Unfiltered Flow ELSC, the podcast dedicated to the progression of the fluid power and automation industries. I'm Meghann Cook. That's Alan Burdette. And today we're very happy to have our friend and colleague, Mr. Tom Holdsworth, on. Tom is Key Account Manager with HYDAC. Hi, Tom.
Glad to be here, Meghann. Al,
It's so nice to have you too, Tom.
thank you. Thank you.
All right, Tom, our favorite question, and always the lead in here. How did you get started in the fluid power industry?
Well, I, like many, had a father that was a distributor way back when of hydraulic equipment. And literally, I started when I was about 5 years old in the hydraulic industry, converting pumps, sweeping the floors, changing coils on valves. So, not to age myself, but I've been doing this a really long time.
Yeah. We believe that, Tom.
Thank you.
And in consideration of your all your years of experience, one of the things we try to do is appeal to people coming into the industry, younger guys. And what would be one piece of advice you would give to a young person coming into the industry today, Tom?
Well, I would hope that they were involved enough in the industry to begin with, maybe a farm kid or someone that was mechanical that worked on engines or something like that. I think if you have that capability when you start, a lot of this makes more sense, especially if they could be a mechanical engineer coming out of college. There's a lot of opportunity for starters in this industry with that degree. And, it's really broad, so you could go anywhere at that point. So I see that happening a lot more. A lot of the kids that are starting up at least have a mechanical engineering degree or some kind of mechanical aptitude. So,
Yeah, there's some really good colleges out there that provide some good AAS degrees too.
yes. Yes, there is.
So, thinking back over time, Tom, and what you're currently doing now, talking in regards to working with customers, current customers, new customers, what information do you wish customers brought to the table earlier in a project?
Well, it'd be great if they'd give you target pricing right up front. But, as far as the information I need when I'm, working on a project, I think the scope of the project is probably the first thing you need to talk about. How far do they want to go? What are their restrictions to going further? Do they want to pursue something like electronic control versus manual controls on hydraulics? What the range of, what you have to offer that they want. They can walk in and say, hey, I want it to be electro-hydraulic control, and that's fine. And then they turn around and say, well, I need more precision than that. So you have to, switch modes right away, and you've wasted a lot of time on the design. So they've also wasted a lot of time when they change their mind mid-project. Be
Time
nice to
and
have that
cost.
defined right away.
Yeah, well, let me follow up on that very point. So when you get into a project, and you've been involved in a lot of projects, most of them were probably extremely successful, but every now and then you hit a project that just doesn't quite go right, And when you run into situations like that, Tom, when do you think these projects break down? The ones that do break down, at what point? Is it the initial briefing? Is it when you get to the test phase, or somewhere in between? Or when do you think it breaks down when it goes sideways?
I would say when the communication stops, when you are giving information and not getting responses either from the customer or from, any product line you're working with, that can really kill a project, right? My father, when I was younger, always said, sales is easy, but the execution of that sale is very hard. And that's part of the discovery phase of finding new business and, working on the design with the customer and getting the quote in time, and timelines met, everything works pretty well. But when you break down on communication, it really can damage the project totally. So
Yeah, and you brought up a point there that I hadn't really thought about before, and that's not only communication with your customer, but communication with your vendors too. Yeah, that is a good point.
yeah, absolutely. As I grew up as a distributor, you had to have really close ties with your suppliers, right? Whether they were Vickers. I mean, it's Vickers back then, so maybe some of the older people will remember that name.
Who?
Vickers Hydraulics, yeah, Hal. But that's the way back. So, or Double A, you probably remember them too, right?
Yep,
But we had
my
really
first
close
boss
ties
was
with
from
them.
Double A.
There you go. We had really close ties with them, and we were really successful when I was younger. And then, they got bought out, and I think Eaton bought them, and then Eaton bought a whole bunch of other people, and now I think Eaton's been sold to Danfoss Corp, and that makes communications harder when all that changes too, because people move around.
Yeah, they sure
But
do.
that's a big part of it.
Well, that brings up a good point and something I wanted to ask anyway. The impact of industry consolidation. How do you feel about it? What do you see? Positives, negatives with regard to that?
It's bound to happen, right? You're always going to have 3 or 4 top players. They're going to buy the middle guys or the lower end guys, but where it works is where you buy somebody that has an innovation out there that, you can use to tie into your product lines. But where it falls apart is, you start conglomerating people, and people start falling out, and there's where that communication starts to fall away. Their replacement doesn't know anything about your project, and you're in the middle of it, and that can really destroy some business. It's going to happen. I think you're always going to have the specialists, if you will, where they only sell one product, like sensors or flow controls or whatever, that will always pick on the big guys. But you're always going to have the big guys, because that's system sales, right? They put the whole system together, and they can put it all on one plate in front of you. And you see that with big distributors, right? They have all the products you need, one-stop shopping, and they can do design work, engineering work, stuff like that. That puts them ahead of the pile. So
But I think it still leaves space for smaller guys that can do the same because they're more agile and think outside of the box as well. I mean, I think it opens up. There's been so much consolidation over the past 10 years, both sides, manufacturers, distributors, right? I think at some point, that it reaches, I don't know, it reaches, not, but it opens up, I think, for smaller companies, like I said, that more direct contact and more of a partnership based approach that way. I mean, after you have so many people within an organization, like you said, communication can tend to break down if you're going through 10, 15, 20 people to get a project completed. So I
yeah,
find it interesting right now and what's going to happen then in the next 10 years with changes and other companies maybe popping up that fit a niche need in the industry.
yeah, and you're making a lot of people available to help out those smaller guys too, right? They may not have all the capabilities they need, but when some of these guys come open, there you go. You can build on your team that way, and become that niche guy that has all the capabilities you need, right? Maybe you don't have that engineer you needed, and now all of a sudden the big conglomerate threw him out the door, and you got him. So
Right. Yeah,
I think that's an
absolutely.
opportunity for a lot of these guys that aren't as sophisticated or sophisticated looking as, the large guys with all the marketing and everything, to actually slip in and take a lot of business. So I agree with you.
Well, let's sort of put yourself in a different situation here. Put yourself in the customer's role instead of the role you're in now as the key account manager, and thinking about the projects you've done in the past, if you were the customer, what questions would you ask from your distributor or your supplier that typically you don't see asked? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think I would ask the first question about how capable they are. Technically for sure, quality on the quality side. I mean, that's a deal killer as well when you can't supply a good quality product, right? But really, you need to know what they know and why they think they know it, right? So I'd ask about their engineering support for sure. Don't necessarily care about the sales part of it yet until I figure out how capable they really are. Do they have test stands? Do they do reman? Do they do repair work? What's their backup? Stuff like that. So
Okay, fair enough.
Reman, huh?
reman, your favorite subject, Megan.
Mm,
What's
yeah. Yep. Still love it today. Some things just don't work out, Tom.
I know. It's just for me, really, is we have a lot of innovation coming out with HYDAC, and that's the other question I would ask. What do you got that's new? Because if you don't keep coming up with new things or new ideas or new ways to do things, you're going to be left behind very quickly. And the word I hear all the time now is ROS systems, ROS, robot operating systems now. And I think the trend is those are coming out because labor is such an issue, right?
yeah.
100%.
Farm labor, construction labor. If they can create a robot operating system to do something that a person doesn't want to do, these customers have some advantages out there. So,
Absolutely. I think too, one of the most underrated questions, and obviously it depends on scale of company, but one question that you rarely hear people ask is how much of your sales are from repeat business?
yeah, I haven't really heard that question at all. You're right. I mean, they don't ask me about that.
But isn't it, the older I get and the more I think about these things, I'm thinking, well, yeah, you're going to want somebody where the biggest chunk of their business is from repeat customers because obviously they were happy and coming back for more.
Right. And I think a lot of people move so quick through a project, they don't care what's next. They want to get that project done and move to the next project, really.
Well, yeah, that's true. Okay, if you could go back, well, a long, long, long time ago, Tom, when you were
I
first
don't
getting
I
into
don't
the
I don't
industry.
I don't know that he can remember that far back, Meghann, but go ahead and ask the question.
What was your name again?
Well, no, you sound like Alan. Like an everyday thing for me. I can't do it with both of you.
I meet this person over here every day. She introduces herself
Right.
and
It's like a
New
Groundhog's
person
Day.
every day.
What piece of advice would you give yourself when you were just starting in the industry, knowing what you know now?
Don't.
that's the first time we've gotten that answer.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for something else, and then I'm thinking,
Something
oh, that's it.
profound. Well, that was pretty profound.
It was.
Well, everybody wants to be a fireman or a policeman or something like that. And I did not have sights on being a hydraulic guy, but it worked out. So, and it's been a good life. So, if, like I say, if you're mechanically inclined and, you want to pursue something in that area, this is some pretty cool stuff. I mean, that was the other thing that my dad always asked all the customers or all the people that he ever talked to. He always said, "Can you name something that hydraulics doesn't touch? Hydraulics and pneumatics, fluid power." I've never gotten an answer that I couldn't disprove right away, right? Even in space.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah. So, and, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be built without it. Obviously, you couldn't build a high rise skyscraper very effectively without hydraulics to even make the steel that's required to do it. So,
Couldn't move a rocket to the launch pad.
but yeah, it's been fun. It's just, if you're not mechanically inclined, probably wouldn't be that great of a job for you. Right. But yeah, I don't regret it. It's been a fun life.
Well,
It's
you
been
got to meet
exciting.
us. You did get to meet us.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that
that's true.
had to be the high point of your career. I mean, seriously. Who
Obviously.
has more fun than us?
Obviously, not seriously. Obviously, Megan.
Well, Tom, we appreciate you. I'm glad you took the time out of your busy schedule. We know you have a lot going on, a lot to do, so we're glad
Yeah,
you
I
took
know.
the time out to talk to
Yeah.
us a little bit.
Yeah, I really
Hey, it's
appreciate
been
it.
my pleasure signing off now from Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah.
Our pleasure
Next
too.
time Alan and I are in Des Moines, we'll come buy you a beer.
Yeah, so that's never going to happen, huh? So I got to come down there. Well, I'll have you.
It might be a lot quicker if you just migrate down towards us, but
I'll have you over to the summer house. It's in southern Missouri, and we
yeah,
can go boating. We can go fishing.
That sounds great.
We can do all that.
that's doable.